Darlon Usher is a young musician and businessman. Our Belize Watch team sat down with Usher, who spoke to us about his goals in life. He also shared the importance of his family support and how he lives his faith out loud. We will have that discussion after this break to hear from our partners. National Gas Company, The Barry, Seafront Inn, National Institute of Culture and History, and Del Martin.
Debari is your one-stop store of choice. We have an array of electronics and accessories to keep you connected. Your home will be the envy of your friends when you choose from a wide variety of household appliances. We can help you dress the entire family in style and comfort with our selection of clothing and footwear. Visit our store on Albert Street in Belize City, San Pedro, La Isla Bonita, Park Street in Orange Walk Town, Belmopan, and San Ignacio, Santa Elena. Debari, get more, pay less.
Seafront Inn welcomes you to Punta Gorda, overlooking the beautiful Caribbean Sea. Seafront Inn offers visitors a relaxing blend of comfort and local charm. Our rooms are spacious and fully air-conditioned, with several amenities including refrigerator, microwave, TV, and more. Clive's Restaurant is located on the 3rd floor and offers a wide variety of delicious food. We can also host your special events. So when you need to get away for business or pleasure, enjoy the atmosphere at Seafront Inn, offering the best of Southern hospitality.
Belize's food heritage is more than what's on our plates. It's the stories, skills, and traditions passed down through generations. But today, those traditions are at risk. That's why the Belize Food Heritage Project is training over 150 community participants, documenting 80 traditional foodways, and sharing the rich flavors of our culture. Join us in celebrating Belize's living heritage, one recipe, one story, one community at a time. Supported by Niche and the UNESCO ICH Fund.
Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from. You da you and me da me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean? Jump and shout all over the nation.
I'm with Darlon Usher, and Darlon, I understand you're quite an entrepreneur in the entertainment industry, right? Tell me what all you do, Darlon. Let's start from there. What all do you do?
So I am a performer first. I write music, I play music, I produce music, I engineer, both in the studio and live, so it's quite a bit.
Is there anything you don't do when it comes to music?
Funny enough, yes, I do not play the drums. For the life of me, I don't have that ambidextrosity, if you could say, when it comes to that type of stuff.
But you can play most other instruments, right?
Yes, so I do play pretty much any other instrument, as long as I practice enough, yeah.
Oh, so you're an accomplished musician and entrepreneur at a very young age. Because how old are you?
I am 24, about to be 25.
Very young age. Now, how did all this start for you?
So for me, it all started in the church. Yes, I started singing at the age of, I don't want to say 11. And I was just singing in the church choir. I do little solos here and there. And then eventually, I remember that first year I joined the Festival of Arts, and that's where everything kind of really kick-started for me. But the origin of everything was in the church.
In the church. Can you remember a song that you sang in church, and maybe sing it a bit of it for me?
Yeah, so the first song I ever sang was Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace, a beautiful song.
And that was actually the song I had also performed for the Festival of Arts, my first year ever.
Can I get a taste of it?
For sure, for sure. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace.
Amazing. Let me shake your hand on that one, man. That was great. I really enjoyed that. So it started when you were 11 years old singing in the choir in church. But as a little boy before 11, growing up, did you ever see yourself as a singer or anything like that, going to, let's say, to kindergarten and to primary school in those early days?
Honestly, no. I would always like mess around when we were singing in class, and like I would hold the ending note very long, and then the teacher would get angry, But I never really envisioned myself as a musician. I didn't even know that I could sing until about the same year that I started to sing in the church. And I definitely never thought that my life would turn out the way that it has so far. So it's definitely been an interesting journey for me, to say the least.
It's an amazing journey because I listened to your voice just now and it's perfect, right? I mean, and I like what you're doing here, right? And the entrepreneur part and everything. Let me get to know more. I mean, you got to know more about your life, right? So you started singing in church, in the choir, right? And then you moved on to what? What was the next move?
So the next step was the Festival of Arts. I had a teacher, Miss Glenda Johnson. For those people who knew her, she was an exemplary human being. She required excellence of anyone and anything that she did. And she saw, I guess, what would have been the first, she planted that first seed for sure. And she was the person who, in many ways, I owe my entire musical journey to. She took me under her wing and trained me up. She placed me in the school's leading role for the school's Christmas event that we would have, which included acting and singing. Right, it's a musical, and I just remember so many, days after practice and rehearsals. I'm like, Miss Glenda, like, I can't do it. I'm so frustrated. I can't remember my lines and this and that, complaining. And she'd look at me and she said, sternly, darling, I know that you have what it takes, even if you don't know that you have what it takes. So you're going to do it, and you're going to do it well. And, yeah, so she took me under her wing for Festival of Arts. She was my coach. I remember that first year I joined, and I got flying marks. I got perfect scores at every level, and then I went on to win the Golden Festival of Arts award. So,
but your family support, what was it like at the time? Did your family support you in all this?
Yes. So I mean, at every step of the way, even as a child, when I first realized that I could sing, my mother was my entire family was really supportive of just all of this process. And my mother especially had always been pushing me to, take vocal training, to go to different classes to better myself as a musician. Any, little thing that would come up, she would say, hey, darling, you should check this out because I think it would be good for you, So just at every stage of my musical career, she was there to support me in every way. And of course, my entire family as well. At every performance that I had, they would, I'll come and watch what I was doing. Or if it was a recital, they'd all come and support me as well. So they were very, very supportive of everything.
Now, what about your friends? Did they support you, or did they say, you pick music, or?
Yeah, I mean, my friends have always been supportive as well. I'm very thankful to have had a group of friends who, in everything that we did, any one of us, we were always supportive of each other, because most of us liked the same thing, even if we couldn't necessarily do what the next person could, you know. And so for us, it was always either music or sports. Everyone always loved to listen to music if they couldn't play music, and then everyone loved to play sports, even if they like to watch and support even if they couldn't play. So
After you learned to play, learned music, what was your favorite instrument? What was the instrument of choice?
it depends. I think every instrument brings out a different emotion based on how you play it, and I think it gives it a different feel, a different mood. But personally, I love the piano. I just feel very fluent and like I can really release what I'm doing when I'm on the piano. But I love the guitar. That's another one of my favorite
How many instruments you play overall?
Um, the last I checked was about 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Let's see, it's piano, guitar.
So, so there's the piano, the guitar, the bass, the flute, recorder. I was learning the violin for a little while. I guess I can't really add that because I don't know it. But
you can
yeah,
defend yourself.
yeah, the marimba, the marimba.
That's the
Yeah,
second one.
yeah.
Seven.
So I just enjoy music, and anything to do with music, it really catches my attention, and I've always gravitated towards that type of artistic output. So.
Now, you want to play something else for me on the piano? Since you love it, what do you play this time?
Well, I can play actually an original that I wrote. So I'll do this one. This is just a composition. I have not written any lyrics to it, and I don't think I will. I want to keep it as like an instrumental type, but
Okay.
I'm also not sure what the name is as yet.
What's the inspiration behind the song?
So this was a time where I was actually I was going through a lot of different things, emotionally rather, and I was mainly feeling sad, mainly feeling very depressed, and I was kind of searching for like a crutch, basically, you know, something that could take me, kind of give me a little help to ease my pain, what I was feeling at that time. And so the emotion of the song is really, I like to think of it as a push and pull, or like a come and go then, to say, I'm feeling sad, but I'm still seeing or understanding that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, you know. But then I would slip and I go back into the sadness and all of that stuff, I guess maybe because I'm reminiscing or whatever, the nostalgia of the moment. And then I would remember again, oh, well, I am able to
Conquer.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Amazing. When you can express yourself through music, that's a wonderful gift, a wonderful talent that a person could have, that they have the ability to express themselves through music. So I can see you being a big composer and whatnot one day, you know, and coming along and being very famous, popular, whatever, however you want to put it. No, there's other aspects to your life now beside playing the music. Tell me what all of these.
Yeah, so I mean, I produce music as well, and that's very, very different from just playing, you know.
Playing, yeah.
It's a lot more technical.
Yes.
And when I was studying, one of my professors, he actually said, you know, thankfully we're not engaging in rocket science. We're just making music, you know, and it's kind of, in many ways it feels like rocket science, especially when you first start to dabble in it. I think what really got me into production was I loved EDM and house music, like, you know, that type of music. And so at the age of 14, I asked my mom, hey, like, I would love to get like a turntable and become a DJ. That was my dream right at the time. So again, of course, being the supportive family that they were, and they're like, okay, well, if this is what you want, sure. So they, you know, bought me a little system, and I went out to parties and started DJing, you know, and I think that was it, because I did my first like remix, or like I did a little thing here and there, and it sounded cool. So I was like, okay, well, I could see myself doing this, and it brought me a different type of joy. There's one thing to play music, but seeing people kind of like, you know, get hype and all of that stuff, in the moment it's nearly an adrenaline rush. So I was like, okay, well, I would love to actually start making my own music, you know, like doing it on a computer, all of that, so producing it. So around that same time I started dabbling in production. I didn't really have a teacher, so I was just, you know, going off of whatever I could find, any knowledge that I could find, YouTube, or just, you know, I'd ask my friends, hey, what do you think about this or whatever. I remember my first song I ever did, man, it was it was very bad. It was very bad.
What do you mean very bad? What was it like? Why you say it's very bad?
It was it was a very novice production.
Somewhere.
Right. Granted, because obviously I had no training or anything. And so, but, you know, little by little, you start practicing, you start training.
Doing the mixing.
And I had always shown an interest in that. So even as I was going through high school, so that happened at 14 years old. I was entering high school, right? Also at high school.
All that is here in Belmopan.
Yes. So also at high school, my family had supported me. Anything that came up, recitals. At this time, I was still in going to classical training. I had a couple different teachers at the time, and so again, one person that I really need to make mention of through this whole process, especially this season that we're going through, is Mr. Elvis Medero Lunar. He is my longtime friend and longtime vocal trainer and coach. and he has seen me at my lowest vocally, which I attribute is the transition from during puberty. That was such a difficult time for me where I literally just wanted to quit music. I genuinely could not, it was such a difficult time. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, sir. Like, it's really bad. And he's just like, no, you got to push through it. Promise that if you, go through this season, when you come out of it, you're going to be so much better and you're going to be happy that you stuck through it now. So, again, another person who in many ways, I'm thankful for that they shaped my entire musical career, But yeah, so production, I went through high school, doing recitals, different things like that, and always gaining knowledge, So I had a few friends around Belmopan who were already into production, who knew of that aspect of it, and they would always, give me little bits of knowledge and kind of show me a thing or two whenever we got the chance. And then I graduated high school, and this opportunity came up in Houston, Texas. This is 2020. And it was an internship for Lakewood Church. Joel Osteen, for those of you who might not know, right? And so I got that opportunity and I took it. Now, this is a big middle of COVID, right? It's in the middle of COVID. Funny enough, the flight I was on, this was in late August. Now, if we remember back to that time, this was when the flights were being cancelled and they shut down everything. The flight I got on was either the last one or the second to last one that left Belize before the entire borders, everything shut down. So everything just kind of worked out, like one after the other. Even when we were like, man, like this is not gonna work, like they're already cracking down on everybody and this and that. And we're like, well, if it's God's plan, then it is, because definitely like there's nothing we can do on our end, right? And we just begin to see doors open, and eventually I found myself in Houston. And I showed up to the place, and they have $1 million system, and I was able to learn under them, so I learned worship, I learned production, I saw the full setup. I learned how they do things, what the proper way to do things, was. And by that time, I had already been doing a lot more production, working with a few different artists around the country. But this was like on another level, right? And this is something that I had never seen at that level. And so for me, it was such an eye-opener. And I was definitely grateful for that aspect and that time.
So how long you stayed at the Joel Osteen setup?
I was there about a year and a half, approximately. And we, again, like I said, I did just a bunch of different things there, from learning singing, to production, to live performances. They actually did a segment with me and my testimony and my story. And so I got to see multiple facets of that entire process. So at that same time, we had some friends who lived in a nearby town to Houston. And so I let them know that I was there pretty much from the get-go. And I would help them at their church and, kind of just sit in, and every now and then, they might have some questions for me, or just, what my experiences were like at Lakewood. Which it was a very interesting time. I loved every minute of it. I got to learn so much, see so much people, and work with so much artists in the gospel industry. And these are huge names who, it was, again, just an honor for me to even be just a fly on the wall, Yeah. And so, for me, that was such a major thing that kind of cemented what I already knew I wanted to do, but just showed me the capacity of it,
When we come back, he shares his experience during the COVID pandemic. Usher also shared he has had the opportunity to work with several international artists. We will have those comments after this break to hear from our partners. National Gas Company, The Barry, Seafront Inn, National Institute of Culture and History, and Del Martin.
It's nothing wrong with that
is your one-stop store of choice. We have an array of electronics and accessories to keep you connected. Your home will be the envy of your friends when you choose from a wide variety of household appliances. We can help you dress the entire family in style and comfort with our selection of clothing and footwear. Visit our store on Albert Street in Belize City, San Pedro, La Isla Bonita, Park Street in Orange Walk Town, Belmopan, and San Ignacio, Santa Elena. Debari, get more, pay less.
Seafront Inn welcomes you to Punta Gorda, overlooking the beautiful Caribbean Sea. Seafront Inn offers visitors a relaxing blend of comfort and local charm. Our rooms are spacious and fully air-conditioned, with several amenities including refrigerator, microwave, TV, and more. Clive's Restaurant is located on the 3rd floor and offers a wide variety of delicious food. We can also host your special events. So when you need to get away for business or pleasure, enjoy the atmosphere at Seafront Inn, offering the best of Southern hospitality.
Are you up for an adventure? Want to go explore the world of the ancient Maya? Let's visit one of the archaeological sites. Don't have any cash? Well, guess what? The Institute of Archaeology niche has made payment options more convenient. We are now accepting DigiWallet payments at 13 of our archaeological reserves. Here's how to do it. Select the bill pay option within the DigiWallet app, then select government entities. Click on niche and enter the site name, fee type, cost of ticket, and click Pay Bill. After a successful transaction, show your digital receipt to the ticketing clerk and this process is complete. And don't worry, Digi now has cellular service on a number of our sites. Yes, it's that easy. Download and register for DigiWallet from your Google Play Store or Apple App Store today. Pay your park fees with ease and enjoy an unforgettable experience at these incredible archaeological reserves. This message was brought to you by the Institute of Archaeology niche, preserving the past for the future.
Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewelry come from. You da you and me da me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean? Jump and shout all over the nation. We're breaking out with a new creation. It's been too long, we've got to unite now.
This happened during the COVID years. Were you frightened? Were you afraid of maybe catching COVID or coming down with it?
I can't say that I wasn't, because obviously, like, we saw the.
Yeah, I just wanted to know your experience, because I know all of us went through COVID and we all have different experiences, you know, some obviously horrible and some good experiences. So you were there so in the U.S. and with Joel Osteen and his people, so I just want to know what about your experience like.
Yeah. I definitely won't say that I wasn't afraid to a certain degree, but I don't think it was a fear that was like, okay, like because I'm afraid I'm not going to do anything. You know, like I still was moving as much as I could within the restrictions, and you know, I was carried a mask with me. If necessary, I would use, you know, other things. I got vaccinated over in the U.S., and so for me it was like I'm aware of it, but I'm not going to let it stop me or hold me down from my assignment here, you know. Yeah. And I tried my best to operate to the fullest capacity. Mm-hmm. And as much as the church would allow me, we did have, at the beginning of my time there, we did have restricted access to the building. We still had services, but it was very limited in how much people could be there and all of that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I was aware, but I never let it stop me from getting the most out of the scenario. So.
And so there you learn to do the mixing of different types of music and and the electronic part of things. That's what I'm understanding from you, right?
Yeah.
I got it correct, right?
Yeah, so there was a lot there that I had first of all never even seen, because again, like, we don't have that type of system here. In Belize we don't have that, right? So that was the first time I saw fully connected, or rather, I'm not sure what the word I want to use, but it was like basically like 4 or 5 systems running at the same time in the same building, right? And all of them were interconnected, through the network and all of that stuff. And so it was a very, very advanced system, and not just the technical side, but even the people. They were skilled professionals, right, at what they did, and I got to learn at every different location of the building, of all the mixing stations. Then, so you have like front of house, which would be the main, say at a concert, that's the main person who's mixing the band and what the people are hearing. Then you have the monitor system, that's what the band is using as a reference, right? And then we have broadcast. Then they had a redundancy system for both the monitors or the stage, and then as well for broadcast. And then there's also a separate system for that records the entire thing for archive, no? So, just learning all of those different things, and understanding that even the mixing process for each station is different, and you can't necessarily approach it the same way, because you won't get the same, or you're not really looking to get the same output. So,
Question here would be, were you ever tempted to remain in the United States after learning all of this?
In many ways, yeah. I mean, it has been my dream, especially because Belize doesn't have that type of industry at that level. Not only the level, but I think the frequency for these types of events, or to that scale, And that was something that I really wanted to do full time. And so I had viewed many different options for me to stay as long as I could. It was my dream to stay. I definitely wanted to, just because of the opportunity to grow, It eventually did not work out long term.
Can you recall when it did not work out, or what brought about the change and brought you back home?
Yeah, so I guess we'll fast forward. I moved from Houston to Nashville.
Okay.
And I was studying there. So now I'm
in Nashville.
Yes.
Okay.
So I went to school in Nashville, and I was doing again production. I was studying production there. We were trying to look for a company that would sponsor me to work for them, during my time there. That didn't work out, and so once my visa was up for the schooling, or once my school was up, then I had to return home. And that was kind of where I understood, okay, well, like, more than likely it's not gonna work out now. And I don't know, maybe it works out at some point in the future, but I'm here in my lovely country, so.
Mm-hmm. So you returned home, and on return to Belize, what was that like? What was that transition like?
It was different. Obviously you've already gotten used to a certain way of life.
How long were you there, you said?
So in total, it was approximately 3.5 years or so.
3.5 years. I know you're coming back home.
Yeah.
That was 3.5 years without coming back home, because.
Well,
you got that chance to come home during those 3.5 years.
Yeah. Eventually, I had gotten the chance once the restrictions from COVID had eased up. I got the chance to come back. I think it was twice, or 2 or 3 times. I think it was, but I did eventually get to come back. For a limited time, and then I went back, But it was definitely a jarring experience. And not jarring in a bad way, but just, again, you've gotten used to a certain way of life, you've gotten used to the people over there, And so coming back, I mean, it's only 3.5 years, but there's still a lot of changes that you have to adapt to again. Of course, I found a job here, and so even that, my schedule looked different. I would, in the U.S. when I was doing school, I'd be ready for 10 a.m. My classes would start at 10. I would wake up at about, maybe 8:30, 9-ish, get ready, go to school at 10. And then school would be finished by 6 p.m. And then we'd go into the studio after the school because I did live production and studio production. So I would do that until maybe about 12. And then I'd go home and work on some more music and then go to sleep at like maybe 3 or 4 in the morning. So my schedule was very, very different, you know. And coming back home, I found a job here in Belmopan that was primarily production, working with a TV station. And once I finished there, I got an opportunity again to operate out of Belmopan and Belize, but for a US-based company, if we can loosely call it that. It was a band called Christafari.
I remember Christopher.
Yeah, so again, even how that opportunity came about was very, you know, out of my hands and out of my reach. Was very much orchestrated by God because a friend of ours who was in communication with them, they were looking for an engineer at the time, and I was, again, you know, just freshly out of school, but I had some experience under my belt as well. Well, my friend actually communicated to them that, hey, like, there's this young guy who's available if you'd want to. He's very good at what he does. And that kind of birthed the conversation that we had, me and Christafari. They called me this Saturday evening, and after about an hour and a half of speaking, they hired me there. Okay. So it was not a long process.
And you did that work in Belize?
Yes. So, well, the way how that works is, at least for me, it was this way that it was 2 or sometimes 3 weeks on with them and then 2 weeks off.
Okay.
So they would fly me out to wherever they were having their string of concerts. And we'd have the bunch of shows. Sometimes we might do some recording at a studio wherever we were, or just recording with whatever equipment we brought. And then we finish the shows and we fly back home. My first string of shows for them was in Israel. So that was a
long flight.
Yeah, it was a very that entire trip was amazing for me, to say the least. And I still, sometimes I look back at it and I say, like, man, I probably didn't take enough advantage of the situation, just because, I mean, you know, you're in Israel, you're seeing all of we did a tour of all the different the sites, you know, biblical sites. And then, of course, we got to do, you know, concerts all around. So for me, it was a large, it was a lot to grasp at the time. But I was definitely grateful for the experience. And they made it clear, like, very early on that initially the ad that they posted was just for that trip, a 2-week-long excursion to Israel, see some, you know, see some of the sites, and then you have some concerts. Well, they made it clear very on that, yes, we are looking for an engineer for this string of shows, but we're actually interested in having someone long term. And so I was, you know, ecstatic. I was like, yes, just say, yes, yes, you know. And that would then birth approximately a year-long connection between us, where I worked in the studio with them. We recorded a bunch of songs, most of which are now out. And so a lot of my work, I did more editing and some songwriting as well. So some of my credits are on that. But a lot of what I did was like the editing part, the more grueling part of the studio work, you know, making sure everything's ready to get mixed, and I did a bit of mixing as well. And so it was an interesting time. I can really say that I learned so much just being there and learning from Mark. He's the leader of the band, right? Mark Moore. Such a phenomenal time.
Let's look at what happened after Christopher. How long did that last, and what happened after?
Yeah, so it was about a year long, a little bit less than a year long exchange between us. And then I moved back to Belize, full-time rather, because I was back and forth between the U.S.
Yeah, you were Christopher, you were traveling up and down, but now you're settled back down in Belize, in Belmopan, yeah? Am I correct, or where?
So no, I actually moved to San Pedro.
San Pedro. Why did you choose San Pedro at the time?
So
Was it for the obvious reasons that I'm thinking?
no, no. So I took a hiatus from just about everything. I had definitely enjoyed my time with Christafari, but I definitely, after all the traveling and just all the experiences, I decided to take a little break. And so I moved to San Pedro. I had a friend living out there. He runs a radio station. And so I moved out there with him. He has, he had some apartments there that he rented out. So I was there. I worked full-time at a coffee shop. And then I helped out at the radio station as as much as he would allow me. And I just really rested, I took things chill. I didn't really do any music during that time. I wrote some songs, but I wasn't very active in music at the time. February of last year, I moved back to Belmopan. I had gotten enough of the island life, which, it's amazing. I love San Pedro, but I was kind of missing my home. So I moved back to Belmopan. I started working with my family, and I had always had KTV as something that I wanted to do, but I never felt like it was the right time. So now moving back to Belmopan, and me being where I was at the time, just mentally and all of that stuff, musically, I decided to challenge myself with KTV. So I did, and I was eventually victorious. I won KTV last year, and so that then kind of hard launched me back into the music scene.
Just a year ago?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. And so I started doing a bunch of production again. I started working with a bunch of artists, producers. I released my first single beginning of this year, officially my first single.
What was the first single?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Originally written by you?
So it was commissioned by Play Tune Marketing for their anniversary, but it's a co-collaboration, right? I don't know if that's a word, collaboration between them and I. And it's just a song pretty much, showing, we've got life, we've got so much blessings that we ought to be thankful for, we're grateful for. And just the fact that we're living, is enough that we can be grateful for that, and so.
Gratitude. You wouldn't mind playing a bit of it for me at this point in time, right?
Every day I pray for guidance, 'cause life is short and it is promised to no one. It's promised to no one. Every day I pray for the right plan, 'cause time is short and it is promised to no one. It's promised to no one. I said I'm blessed. I got life, I know there's no need to stress. Things get hard, but I can still beat my chest. And even in the darkest hour, you give me rest. I know I'm blessed, yeah. I'm grateful for life, grateful for love. All my blessings come straight from above. Jah give me life, Jah give me peace. Jah bless me with everything in between. Say who Jah bless, no man fi curse. Couldn't be last 'cause I put him first. Play that tune till it quench my thirst. Yes, I put him first, said I. Every day I pray for guidance, 'cause life is short and it is promised to no one. It's promised to no one, yeah. Every day I pray for the right plan, 'cause time is short and it is promised to no one. It's promised to no one. I said I'm blessed. I got life, I know there's no need to stress. Things get hard, but I can still beat my chest. And even in the darkest hour, you give me rest. I know I'm blessed, yeah.
The words and the lyrics are all yours.
Yes, so we had an instrumental that we thought would work for the vibe and everything. And Richie Galvez, who's the CEO of Playtune, he was the one who had approached me, and he said, well, we have this anniversary. We really want to make something that's just positive, that gives that positive message, and it really just shows gratitude, And he kind of gave me some keywords, some phrases that he thought would kind of point me in the direction. And I stepped into the studio and I was like, okay, well, this is what I've got, And I was able to collaborate with an amazing producer, Randy Sutherland, who kind of brought everything together. So, but yeah, I approached it from that same place of just, I've been through so much in my life. I've got so much to be thankful for,
That's a lot in 24 years. What you have lived in 24 years, I think many people don't live in a whole lifetime. So you are blessed indeed.
Yeah.
You're really blessed.
And I truly believe that. I've not always had life easy, but I don't think anyone ever does. But despite everything, like I'm still able to, say I've woken up another day. I, have food on my table, my rent is paid, my light is still on. And I'm able to get up and do what I always do, and so I think that in and of itself, regardless of any, material thing that we own or even any talent that we have, just the fact that we're able to get up and see another day, that's a blessing in itself. So
how would you speak to young people your age, based on your experiences and advice? What sort of advice would you give them in how to conduct their lives?
I mean, well, first of all, I would say always have a dream, at every stage of your life, even when things don't look positive, always keep on dreaming. I can't tell you how much times I've been in situations where like I genuinely never really knew what I wanted to do or what the next step would be, but I knew that I had a dream that I wanted to achieve, a goal that I wanted to move toward. And so in whatever aspect of my life that I found myself, I was able to conduct myself,
As a little pause here, tell me about a goal, that dream.
So I want to be a musical artist in
That's
whatever
it.
capacity,
Okay.
and I want to impact my country.
So you want to excel and impact your country. That's a good dream. Go
And
ahead.
really not just to say, oh, I want to be a musical artist, but I want to be one of excellence, because I think anybody can, come and just play the piano, anybody can just grab a mic and sing, but to do it excellently is a completely different thing, And anybody who's ever worked with me in music, or most people I would say who has ever worked with me in music would say the same thing, that I have that drive, I never settle until I get it right, or what I'm hearing in my head, or what the person might be going for, I've worked with quite a few artists who have come to me and say, hey, like I have this song in my head and I really want it to sound this way and have this and do that. And, it might take us some time, but we get it to where we want it to be, And alternatively, I've also had some artists that I worked with, and for whatever reason, it just never worked out. But even then, I always gave it my all, So, but my number one thing is always excellence. Like, just do everything you can. If you love it, you do it with excellence, and it will never feel like work, and you'll love every second of it. So
You put your all. That's how you excel, by giving it your all. The number one advice, I can totally identify with it. Have a dream, right? Because I can relate to it. My dream when I was 7 years old was to work at a radio station, right? That was my dream, to be a voice coming out of that little box, right? So you have to have a dream. That's where everything starts. And then you never give up on that dream, right? Now, continue with the advice now. Let's continue hearing from you.
for sure. Yeah, so always have a dream. When you fully understand what that dream, and sometimes I can't really say fully understand, because sometimes you don't fully understand.
There's no straight road to the dream.
Yes. But at every level, and I kind of touched on it just now, at every level, be excellent in it.
That's right. Excellent.
You know, there's no such thing as perfection. Only one man be perfect on this earth, and he's not here. That's Jesus. Only one man was ever perfect, and we're not him. You can never achieve perfection, but you can always do something excellently.
That's right.
To get as close as possible.
Yes.
You know, I still listen back to songs that have now been released that I've worked on and be like, man, I would probably do this a little bit differently, or
That's right.
you know, the lyrics I might do something slightly different. But
That's exactly what you say.
one thing that I understand too is that for what it was in that moment, that's what it needed to be, you know. And so you appreciate what you create in that moment, or what you do in that moment, but you understand that you're maybe not there anymore. You are now at another level, you know. So yeah, do everything with excellence, you know, whether it be, if you can only sing, be the best singer, you know. If you can play the piano as best as you could, you know. If you're, and it doesn't have to just be music. I mean, it can be sports, it can be literature, it can be arts, it can be, you know, business, whatever it is, science. Whatever you do, whatever the Bible says, whatever you put your hands to, let it be done in excellence to the glory and honor of God, right? And so for me, like that means that, okay, like I will, you know, do research, I will practice, I will train, you know, I will surround myself with people who I think are better than me, because I want to get on their level and even surpass them, you know. And I think that actually leads into my third point. Okay. Surround yourself with people who you see either as mentors in whatever you want to do, or surround yourself with people who excel greatly and excellently in that field. Because the only thing that can happen from that is that you'll get better. It's the only thing that can happen. You know, if you are someone told me this, he said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You know, and so that applies for anything. If you're the best musician in a room, you're in the wrong room. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that you're not going to help other people who who were once in your position. But it just means that that's not where you stay. Yeah. You know, because you have, yes, it's always another. And I was literally just having this conversation with someone like yesterday. And they said, oh my gosh, you know, I got to share the stage with a KTV star. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm just, you know, I'm a musician, I'm a singer, yes, but I don't necessarily see myself as that. You know, I am just another person who is trying to achieve the same goal, you know. And for me, it's always, there's another level to it. There's another level. And when you get there, there's still another level to go, you know. So, yeah, just, I could never say more than just do the best that you can do with what you have, because we don't all have the same, you know, resources, the same finances. But I've seen so much success stories with people who had the most minimal and they achieved the most greatest things. Yeah. So there's nothing to say that because you don't have the best recording equipment, or you don't have the backing, the financial backing to go to this college or that college, means that you can't become great and you can't do great things, you know. It just takes your drive and your passion for that certain thing, and that will take you as far as you want to go.
Usher spoke to us about the importance of humility. We will have the conclusion of our conversation after this break to hear from our partners, National Gas Company, The Barry, Seafront Inn, National Institute of Culture and History, and Del Martin.
Debari is your one-stop store of choice. We have an array of electronics and accessories to keep you connected. Your home will be the envy of your friends when you choose from a wide variety of household appliances. We can help you dress the entire family in style and comfort with our selection of clothing and footwear. Visit our store on Albert Street in Belize City, San Pedro, La Isla Bonita, Park Street in Orange Walk Town, Belmopan, and San Ignacio, Santa Elena. Debari, get more, pay less.
Seafront Inn welcomes you to Punta Gorda. Overlooking the beautiful Caribbean Sea, Seafront Inn offers visitors a relaxing blend of comfort and local charm. Our rooms are spacious and fully air-conditioned, with with several amenities, including refrigerator, microwave, TV, and more. Clive's restaurant is located on the third floor and offers a wide variety of delicious food. We can also host your special events. So when you need to get away for business or pleasure, enjoy the atmosphere at Seafront Inn, offering the best of Southern hospitality.
Welcome to the digital era, the Institute of Archaeology's online ticketing system. Purchasing your park tickets just got easier. Here's how you can use our quick and easy online platform for your next adventure. Go to nichebelize.org and select Purchase Park Tickets. Scroll through our 13 available archaeological reserves and select your ticket type, age, and date of your next adventure. Make sure to read up on the amenities available on site. Then, press Purchase Site Ticket. View your cart and fill in your billing information, and the rest is easy. Pay through your preferred method and place your order. Be sure to check your email for your tickets. Now you're set. Visit any of the 13 sites with ease. For more information, call us at 822-2106 or email us at revenueassistant@nichebelize.org. This message was brought to you by the Institute of Archaeology Niche, preserving the past for the future.
Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from. You da you and me da me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean? Jump and shout all over the nation. We're breaking out with a new creation. It's been too long, we've got to unite now.
When you're no longer humble, you stop learning.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I've seen people completely wreck their career, you know, just from becoming, I guess, pompous and, you know, like all of this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how do you expect to grow if you can't take advice, you can't take discipline? And I think a lot of times too, we kind of view discipline and advice as like, oh, well, you're jealous or this and that. It's like, no, like, most of the time, I won't say all, but most of the time, advice and discipline comes from someone who wants to see you get better. You know, who either, you know, has been where you were or where you are, or they have knowledge of that specific thing and they just want to see you get to another level, you know? I think my generation is, in many ways, we've put ourselves at a disadvantage because we kind of think we have it all together, and everybody does at some point. Yeah. I won't say that, but there's a lot of things I can say about my generation who I won't get into, but it's concerning, you know. I grew up very old-fashioned, as we call it, you know, very grounded in older morals, and my family was very, very strict with those things, and so a lot of conversations that have now been coming up in society today, for me, you know, is kind of it's a little bit awkward, you know, because like I didn't grow up with those conversations being had, but you know, back to the music side of it, you know, it's one thing that I can say is that I have appreciated every stage that I've been at, you know.
It's a learning every stage.
Yes.
Even when you were not doing the music, you were really learning. It was really a learning curve for you, you know.
And one thing that I think I failed to mention, and this was such a pivotal moment for me, leading up to my time with Christafari, I was the main person on a stage, right? So I was the lead singer of my band. I still am.
You got a band too?
Yes. So I mainly operate with band 501 Genesis right here out of Belmopan. You know, but up to that point of me being called up to be their production manager, I was, you know, the front man. You know, everybody knows my face, everybody knows my voice. And that was great and all, but it got very, it was a lot of weight on me, you know, a lot of eyes on me, and it took a lot, you know. I remember my first, or it was actually the second show with Christafari in Israel, and I was a production manager, so that I'm in charge of all the equipment, I'm in charge of everything production, including mixing the show. We finished the show, and immediately after, I go on stage, start, you know, rolling up wires and tearing down the equipment, the instruments. And then, of course, well, the band, you know, they leave everything there, they go and they meet with their fans, right? And I just remember walking out on stage, and as I'm rolling a wire, I look over and, you know, everyone's crowding them and, oh, can we take a picture and this and that with them?
Yeah.
And then I'm here, you know, in the background just kind of rolling the wire. And in that moment, all I can think of is like, wow, like I don't have to perform, I don't have to be, you know.
You can be you.
Yeah, like I can just, you know, roll my wires, put my equipment up and leave. And I'm no one there, you know, to the fans at least. And that was such a freeing moment for me, you know, and I have basked in that glory ever since, you know, being able to just do what I need to do, get the show done, have it sound as good as it can. And one of my professors said this, he said, if you can do an entire show and no one ever knows that it's you, you've excelled at your job, you know. And for me, that's what I've tried to do at every show I've ever engineered for, every song I've ever, you know, produced or worked on in the studio. I worked in radio a little bit, and, you know, even then, whatever I was doing, I just tried to remove myself from the equation, because it's not about me. You know, it's about what, you know, the story that's being captured, the song, about the band on stage. It's not about me, you know, and for me that's amazing. So I've loved performing, and with KTV and all of that stuff, I've gotten back into that limelight, if you could say. But I also love being in the background. I love it. So.
Very good. Now, today, you're in several areas, mixing, and tell me all the areas you're in. And you talked about the 501 band as well.
Yes. Yeah, so I'll start off with the band. 501 has been around for about 8 years now, since before COVID. And we do primarily gospel reggae, dancehall, soca, more. Yes. We do our own concerts as well. We had a major one in Belize City, I'm sure, Jesus Fest. And then we've done a bunch of other shows as well, and so that has been really cool. But I also do a lot of production. I do a lot of songwriting. I do a lot of mixing and mastering.
You mentioned your company. Describe your company to me. What is it?
Sure. So my company is Mosaic Productions.
Mosaic Productions. Why are you supposed to name Mosaic? Because of variety? Or?
Yeah, so when you think about a mosaic, it's a culmination of a bunch of different things put together to make, you know, something beautiful. And so for me, my company is multifaceted in that it operates studio work, and it also does live. It has live elements to it, right? We are a small-scale, full capacity live production company. So we provide sound reinforcement for smaller shows, events, concerts, birthdays, you know. We do broadcasts as well, apart from live. And then, of course, I have the studio aspect where I do a lot of mixing, producing, songwriting, just a full variety of studio work, you know. And that started last year after I won KTV officially. And it has, you know, I'm very thankful that I've gotten all the calls that I have to support different events and different artists. I've worked all over the country because of it, in Corozal, Orange Walk, Dangriga, Placencia, up in Pine Ridge. You know, I've been so grateful for all of those things. So,
you know, there's some creativity in all of us, and there may be many young persons who have a lot of creativity in them. how would you advise them to bring that out, that creativity?
I mean, well, first of all, I just want to say that it's so important. You know, I think that, at least for me, my aspect is music. Music is a language. You know, it's in so many ways it communicates things that words alone cannot put together. You know, and so in many ways it's an outlet for people. You know, whether it be, you know, you're a poet, or you draw, you paint, you know, you're maybe skilled with your hands to invent things or put things together. You know, for me, music has always been that outlet. You know, when I'm feeling sad, when I'm feeling happy, when I'm angry, when I'm confused, I'm able to sit at a piano or my guitar and just kind of express what I'm feeling through the chords, the articulation, and all that stuff. So it's important. It in many ways has, I mean, for one, it has been around for generations, centuries, and every culture has their own type of music, own type of arts, really, that makes them unique, and it makes them special. It's special to them, you know. The Caribbean has these very rhythmic, you know, types of music, and I think that's very telling of the type of culture that we have. You know, we're a very bubbly, very jubilant people, and so in many ways, I think that the music it speaks for itself of just how diverse, you know, it can be. Each person has that inside of them, you know, and so if you're able to then identify that, first of all, and then bring that out in whatever way it means to you, you know. You mentioned earlier, you know, it's so important to be able to articulate yourself through this outlet, you know. And so for me, music has always been a major part of my life, right? From the minute I learned that I could sing, and started taking vocal lessons, started to learn instruments, I never let it go, you know. And it has taken me to so many different walks of my life, and it has brought me through so many different challenges in my life, you know. And I believe that is what it can do for each and every single person. And again, it looks different for everybody, right?
Of course, no two parts are the same.
Yes, you know, like I cannot, for the life of me, I'm not a draw. I can't, I'm not an artist in that sense, right? I can't draw. Best I could give you the Wally Stickman, and even Miss Stickman, you know, questionable. But then I get behind a piano and it's a different story, you know? So each person has that in them. For them to bring that out, that is what makes it beautiful, because then you then start to see a different side of that person that maybe you might not have known. I have some coworkers, and I've known so many different people who, you know, they're such a shy person, quiet and mild-mannered person, and then, you know, they grab a mic, or they you know, they do something. It's a whole different person, you know. And so that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty behind it. And I think people say that art is dying. I disagree. I think that it's simply asleep, and we just need to awaken it, you know, and in each person, in a community, in the country. So
you subscribe to the biblical analogy. Jesus would say, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added on to you." Right? And then he was asked, "Master, where is this kingdom you're talking about?" And he says, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." So you had all this talent within you. You are you're in a very wonderful position, and you have had a wonderful opportunity to bring out what you had within you, because you brought that out from within. Now, a lot of us keep looking outside for different ways to satisfy ourselves, right? To become what we I'm not sure we want to be, right? But the place to look, and the place where you looked, from what I gather listening to you, was inside of you. You found the kingdom inside of you, and you brought that out, all right? Let me get your comments on what I just said.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you use that analogy and that Bible verse. I believe that we as human beings, we are made for more than just being, right? Again, like I mentioned, music for me has always been so important. And we can see throughout the Bible that from the beginning of time, music was a major part of that. When the Israelites would go out to war, the first people in front would be the musicians. It was not your strongest man or your most intimidating person. It's the musicians. They led. And, coming back to our time, I think that musicians all around the world have been or are in such a pivotal time because media is so easily consumable, right? And it's so communicatable as well. And so we're in such a I nearly want to say diverse, but we're in such a instrumental time, pun intended, because whatever you ascribe to, whatever you believe in, it can be communicated, For me, it's always about positivity, I have been saved not because of anything that I've done, but it's simply because of the grace of God on my life. And I think that there's too much negativity around for me to not bring a positive aspect of life, And so in all the music that I do, whether it's writing, producing, performing, I try my best for it to be as positive as possible, to breathe a breath of fresh air, And after you've listened to my music, that you're able to then question yourself and say, okay, well, man, like this really is stirring something up in me. Like, what do I have to give now, And what we have to give is everything that is already inside of us, Again, like what we mentioned, there is something beautiful in each person, and I want to challenge people. It's like, find out what that is, find out what that is, and do your best to bring it out, because I think that the world would be so much better if we focus more on that instead of all the negativity and things that plague our society today, if we can loosely put it that way,
I really admire when I see a young person of your age being so positive in life and so focused on the direction that you want to take, right? And also using it to influence other young people like yourself to excel and to be the best they can be.
I heard someone say recently, people who are secular, they have no problem telling you what they believe in and what they don't mind doing and what, all of those things. And it's only the church and gospel side of things that are more conservative, and they're like, well, I'll wait until you ask, or this and that. For me, it's like, I will bring exactly what I am, and I want you to know that is what I am. Like, I am all about this, and I don't back down, I'm not confrontational, that's a different thing, but I know what I believe in, and I stand on that belief, One thing I did not mention earlier, and I do want to say this, and it's slight stray off topic, but in the advice to young people especially, just because you're young does not mean that you can't be in a place of influence and excel in that place of influence. In the past 4 or 5 years, I've been in multiple areas and positions that, I've literally been in charge of people older than me who have maybe been doing that certain thing longer than I've been doing that, right? And for whatever reason, I found myself in that leadership position. And the first time I was ever in a situation like that, I was kind of second guessing myself and all that stuff. But you have to come to a realization that at some point or the other, you will be in that situation, and you have to take it in stride. Because you have something, obviously you're in that position for a reason, right? Most of the time, not always, but most of the time, you're not put in a leadership position just because. You have something to offer, your opinion is valid, and you have something to give, you know? And so again, it goes back to do everything that you do with excellence, because when you do that, you see yourself in those positions more often. So, and don't let anyone look down on you, you know? Like, you know why you're there, and operate as if such.
And I love the word excellence and what it stands for. Okay, let's look at the foreseeable future.
Yeah, so I will be in the country for the foreseeable future as my business is growing and I'm getting more clients. My focus is here right now. I mean, I love my country, you know, and I definitely have enjoyed being able to operate here. And like I said, I mean, again, I'm grateful for all of the people who have called me saying, hey, we want you for our show or this and that. You know, it's been such an amazing journey, and I look forward to all the other calls.
So you love what you're doing, right? So how important it is to love what you're doing?
Someone told me, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Right. And I believe that wholeheartedly. That doesn't mean that I haven't had challenges along the way, but I've been able to overcome those challenges because of that love that I have for my passion, you know. I've surrounded myself with people who have that same passion, and I mean, it just, you know, it's like iron sharpening iron. It's so good, and there's nothing, it's music for me or nothing else. And so I can definitely attest that, I mean, I love my country, I love what I get to do, and I love just the people who have brought me to where I am today. So,
but you realize that love is a choice that we all make, right?
That is true. Love is an action. Love is a verb, you know. So, it's something that we get to do, and again, like everything else, I try to do it as excellently as possible.
You have to have the other two components in there, right? Faith and hope, right? Because faith is your goals that you have set, your dream, faith, right? Hope, all this work that you have been doing fuels you to your dreams, or fuels the mechanism or the machine that takes you to your dreams, right? Yeah. So faith, hope, and inspiration overall is love, right?
Is love, yeah. You have to believe, you know, and that leads you to achieve your goals, your dreams. You said it perfectly, you know, culminating everything together is love, because at the end of the day, if you love what you do, then you're not working. It's just that. So.
Yeah. And love is a choice that we all make, right? If you choose to love today, we will always say to you, Belize and beyond, thanks for choosing love.